How much as a professional golfer, how much stock do you put into the equipment and the balls in particular? I know, for three hacks like myself, Tom, and Paul, the difference between a Pro V1 and the top of the range TaylorMade and a Bridgestone, we probably can't tell the difference. But there's a lot seems to be made about who was it, Furyk, and who got paired with Furyk a few years ago. They had no idea. They got told half an hour before. They'd never used that ball before, and how is it as rattling as the players suggest it might be?
Well, it is in foursomes, right? Because the other two formats you get to play your own ball.
Yep.
In the foursomes, getting players matched up with a very similar golf ball is mostly more important than if they're mates. If they because the I guess the decimal points of performance really do correlate to the ball coming off the club face. Being able to control yardage. You threw out there if Bryson was playing with a Colin Morikawa, let's say. So one's using a Bridgestone ball, one's using a TaylorMade ball, and Bryson's mostly going to hit 50% of his fairways less. So what tee shots does he hit? Morikawa coming out of the rough in positions he mostly his eyes haven't set up. And he's also doing it with a foreign golf ball. And then you throw some elements, wind and whatever else, and he's a Ryder Cup rookie. And you kind of throw all of those different dynamics in, and you go, yeah, and he hits a poor shot, and you go, oh, well, it could have been any one of, a number of different things. So really matching guys' equipment, matching guys' golf balls, I think is equally as important as matching their styles of play and their camaraderie.
Tom, how many different brands of balls do you have in your bag?
I was going to say I play with a Pro V1, and then as I've got out of bounds on my left, I'll switch to a top flight or whatever else I've got in the bag, because I don't want to lose the $9 Pro V1.
That switch to that one that's called practice.
Yeah.
Right, so
Paul keeps those ones in his pocket, and when he gets in a bit of trouble around the trees, he just drops one out. I've seen it happen. That's
unbelievable. That is not a true story. If I played with Pro V1s, I'd be bankrupt. It's just I would not be able.
Smart, Paul. You play with them where you don't think you're going to lose them, and then they sort of seem to last a bit longer.
Yeah. I still haven't worked that part of the game out either, where I don't think I'll lose them. When I'm in the car.
Well, we find the Pro V1s now, at least. Who's big? They do.
Okay. I've got another question for Phil. You are US captain. You are Steve Stricker right now.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any pairings you definitely don't put together without? Obviously, you're looking from the outside in, but if you look at that team, are there any two players you go, I'm definitely not going to put this player with this player, either because they probably won't get along, or because their games are so different, they probably won't gel, or they,
Yeah, I think there's less of that on the US team. If I'm Padraig Harrington, I think there's quite a mixture of personalities across and different games across the European team. Across the US team, when you have a look down there, no one's short, right? So everyone hits the ball off the tee. Most of them, to be fair, other than McIlroy and Rahm, further than everyone on the European team, maybe for Wiesberger, but no one's short. And there are a lot of very similar characteristics. So I think from the styles of play, maybe maybe not as much separation from the players on the US team. One of the things you're mostly not going to see is a couple of rookies together.
Mm.
There's a lot of experience to be able to shed that around. Having said that, there's I am expecting to see a couple of the rookies actually play prominent roles in the US side. There's 6 of them across here, but you wouldn't necessarily term Xander Schauffele a rookie, someone who hasn't played a fair bit. Even though Morikawa, this is his first go round in a Ryder Cup, when you've won a couple of majors in the last 12 months or so, you've proven that you can kind of handle the heat under the top conditions. I think his back actually might mean that he might not play every session. He's saying all the right words, but everyone's saying all the right words at this time of the going. I think you'll see length play with length in four balls. I think in foursomes you'll see some iron play operators play with driving operators. So when I say that, you have a look at a Tony Finau and a Dustin Johnson, who are long but pretty straight. They've got that combination. You'll see them playing with players like Cantlay, like Spieth, where their strengths are generally their iron game, their approach game. Justin Thomas is all round. I think the unknown really is going, who's going to play with Bryson,
and how much does Bryson play?
Yeah. He played in Paris, didn't play in the four balls, but he played in foursomes with Tiger and Phil, and we know how that turned out. I think basically, just to give you the insight, all the Jordan Spieth had kind of carried the load for the US team, playing with Patrick Reed for a couple of team competitions. It was time for someone else to pick up the slack, and Tiger had just come off winning the Tour Championship, and as the leaders of that side, right, they kind of stepped into that role. But what a massive bogey it was, to on so many different levels, levels. But this is going to be a different golf course, different test, different makeup this time around. And so that the question will be, does Bryson play foursomes? Because it's just really hard to pair him. When you've got 11 other guys that mostly really easy to match up. From a four-ball standpoint, pretty easy to pair him up, right? He's going to play an attacking style. You mostly pair him with someone that's maybe a little more staid. But I don't think DeChambeau and Koepka play together because I'm Steve Stricker, right? I'm Steve Stricker. If I'm a different character, yeah, I might even just throw that out there. But I don't think Steve Stricker's doing that, and I don't think the other vice captains he's got and all the team are saying, yep, that's the way we're going to punk these Europeans, is throw those two together.
I think Scotty Scheffler sounded like he's got a decent relationship with Bryson. Could be paired with him. Like you say, in the four ball, it doesn't matter as much. And then looking at, like you say, what they did last time with sort of Spieth having sort of taken a bit with Captain America, I sense JT could be a guy that could play with Bryson as well. I mean, him and Spieth, they're going to be sort of not willing to break them up, but if they cop an early loss or if things are going different, the way I've heard JT talk about Bryson or talk about playing with Captain America, he sort of, I don't know, it sort of seems like he's got a way to get through to those guys and sort of egg them on and deal with them, so he could be another option.
Yeah, Finau's Mr. Nice Guy too.
Yeah.
He really is. And so Tony's just going to say, yes, sir. It's pretty much what it comes down to. He'll contribute, he's got a voice, but if Stricker says jump, he'll go how high.
I saw on Twitter earlier this morning, and our good friends, we do not know them at all, but No Laying Up are on course. And they sighted this morning playing the 18th, alternate shot, Harris English with Tony Finau and Brooks Koepka with Daniel Berger.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. There's particularly the Koepka Berger, just what you're sort of talking about there, Phil, playing someone that can beat the crap out of it, and then someone who's pretty consistent with the iron play.
What will be interesting for me over the course of the week is how the Ryder Cups and Presidents Cups dominantly are won and lost on the putting surface. Who makes key putts at the right time. It's not just the highlight reels, but I think the making putts, getting the crowd involved at the key moments play a huge role in momentum. And so be interesting for me with the greens at Whistling Straits being quite small targets. Therefore, there's mostly not going to be quite as many 30-footers made. And you have a look at putting proficiency from inside of 15 feet. And some of those 15-footers are going to be pass overs. And so those that most probably is where I see some of the key putting for this Ryder Cup, maybe not so much from downtown or outside of 30 feet.
Paul, what's your preferred format of the foursomes versus four ball? To watch?
You mean to watch?
Oh, or play, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So
God, I can't imagine playing around with you foursomes.
I've played in a few charity, what do you call Ambrose tournaments. So I do like the foursomes because you can quite often be put in a situation that you're not familiar with after, even if your partner has hit the ball exactly where he usually hits it. This could be a foreign sort of approach for you. It's always a foreign approach for me and Ambrose.
Especially with you.
Because I'm usually hitting from the middle of the fairway in Ambrose, and I have no idea what that feels like when I just play stroke play. But what I want to know is, last time out, Team Europe had Mollywood.
Yep.
Do we see another Mollywood? I mean, we won't see the Mollywood this time, obviously, but do we see somewhere where Padraig can grab a couple of players and all of a sudden they just gel and bang? And who do you think those two might be, Phil?
Yeah, good call. Good call. Did a little rough look at this, and I wonder if it's it could be Fitzwood or Fleet Patrick.
A bit of brainstorming going on there.
I can see those two gelling. Couple of Englishmen that are maybe a little more unassuming than the big stars, and could be taken a little bit lightly. Is not the right way of putting it. No one's taken lightly in this format, but maybe aren't the superstars that are on the other side, and they're not John Rahm and Rory McIlroy here. You know that Ian Poulter is going to be, every match he goes out in is going to be a very keenly contested match. Generally doesn't get blown out, whether it be foursomes, four balls. Hasn't lost in the singles, so his match just about every time he tees it up is going to be competitive. I'm really interested to see how a young Victor Hovland goes.
Yeah.
I think he may be a bit of a wild card, quite literally, for the European team, in that he's pretty fearless. Doesn't have the resume of some of the others just yet, but I think may play a quite a pivotal role for a rookie.
Yeah, could we pair him up with Mackelhov, or pair him up with Ram and have Ramland? Something.
Yeah. No way.
I think you're gonna see that. I think when you have a look at the experience that's across the board, the Garcia is going to play just about every session. I think if his game is on, and it's certainly been trending in the right direction. I think the likes of a Casey and an Ian Poulter might be guns for hire for the foursomes. Really consistent ball strikers, don't tend to get out of position too often, and really gritty competitors with getting the ball up and down. I think the flash of McElroy, of Ram, of Garcia, even Bernd Wiesberger, who's a rookie, and they'll kind of get around him. What has he had, 7 or 8 wins on the European Tour? So, it hasn't done it just yet, but he kind of got a pretty close look at Rory winning a PGA a couple of years ago, and so he may be someone that I'm expecting will play with an experienced player the first couple of sessions if he gets to tee it up on foursomes and four balls.
Let's do a quick whip around. Of who you think the marquee pairings will be for each team. Tom, we'll start with you.
In terms of Europe, it's tough, and I think if Rory and Rahm are going to sort of captain the European team, and then it's sort of, I think you put Victor maybe with one of those two to make a really strong pairing. I think obviously for the States, I think JT and Spieth will be their sort of go-to guys, Fizz Merchants, captains. I'm not sure what else you guys think, especially with the European team, how they sort of cut it up. What Phil was saying before was quite interesting.
Paul?
On the European side, I do like Hovland getting matched with one of the more experienced guys like McElroy or Garcia. But I think I don't know. I think maybe someone like Ian Poulter getting matched up with Fitzpatrick. I think they might go very, very well together. On the American side of things, I just like the look of players like JT and Jordan. I think JT, if we look, like Phil said, Tony Finau's Mr. Nice Guy, so he'll just get put with whoever Stricker says. He probably won't even get asked who he would prefer to go with. He'll just get told, you're going to be playing with this guy, and and it won't bother him at all. But I think someone like Cantlay would probably go really, really well with someone like a Xander or someone like a JT.
Well, Cantlay and Xander were undefeated at the President's Cup, I think, in 2019. So they were one of the.
They've already got a wee bit of history there. They've already got yeah.
I had them circled for the US team as well as JT and Spieth. I think they'll be paired together. I'm kind of going a little bit differently from you guys for the Europeans. I could see Rahm and Garcia playing together. They're pretty close mates, I believe. Obviously countrymen as well. And same with Rory and Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Another, Lowry's a rookie in the sense of a Ryder Cup. So putting him with one of the, the alpha of the team, essentially. They're good mates. I could see those four. And when I'm sort of looking at my betting, we'll get to it shortly, I had those four and Fleetwood playing all 5 sessions. I don't know who you put with Fleetwood and whether that's a constant or he's sort of just moves around a few pairings.
Good call, Carl. I had similar sort of pairings that I was looking at. An X Factor pairing, and I just kind of wonder if Stricker might go there in four ball is Koepka and Johnson.
Yeah.
And I say that from a healthy competitive standpoint, that the two of them will just want to be making as many birdies as they possibly can, just trying to be the alpha dog to each other, really. That being a second or a third team out in one of the four ball sessions where the crowd is really involved for multiple different reasons, that if they could get something going, that would be quite exciting. Maybe as a TV fan as well, that would be quite interesting, the dynamic, to see how they would go together. Interesting one for me is the personality of Tyrrell Hatton. He's a bit of an oddball, and I say an oddball. I love him. I love that he's a bit of an oddball, and so I'm trying to think, who the hell's Tyrrell Hatton matching up with? Because I think a couple of the other things pairings as you guys have picked out are fairly straightforward. I think that the European side's going to go that way. So I don't know. I'm going to put my hand up, and I just don't know where Hatton's going to where he's going to fall, where he's going to get his. He only got picked up 1 point there in Paris. So
he played with Casey in Paris.
Yeah, look, and I don't.
Different course.
I don't know if the Casey personality with the Hatton personality. I don't know. I don't know if it does or doesn't.
I can see him and Poulter gelling quite well together.
It'd be like the perfect storm.
Perfect storm. Really angry. Really, really emotional. A lot of club throws. A lot of fist pumps. That would be a hell of a watch on TV anyway. I'm just thinking back to the European Tour social media and the angry golfers. So good. Yeah.